Hey everyone, it's time for Good Week Israel. Well, we'll give you ILTV's latest positive highlights. So get ready to smile because coming up, a temple-era bronze oil lamp was discovered in Jerusalem. You can now have the holy city in your very own backyard, and one Israeli man is using military combat equipment in a way you would never expect. Make art, not war. One ex-Israeli soldier has taken that sentiment to the next level with a new artistic medium, certainly not for the faint-hearted. Watch this.
My name is David Dede. I'm using sniper rifle to create my art. Make art, not war.
Former Israeli army sniper David Dede has turned his hand to action painting, but with live fire ranges as studios and guns instead of brushes to blast colors into abstract patterns.
After 20 years in service, in an active unit, everybody needs therapy. So to be honest, this is my healing by art. When I'm shooting, not on people, not in a war, not during the military service. I'm doing this for my, let's say, fun, for my way to say something to the world. It's make me feel peacefully.
Using a pistol in Israel and the cannon of a World War II-era tank in his native Ukraine, Dede shoots into bags of paint suspended between the muzzles and wood-board canvases. Amidst the resulting splashes and holes, he intersperses letters in Hebrew, English, and Russian, seemingly at random, an invitation to the viewer to form words.
So this art is made by Jewish letters, Hebrew letters, words of peace in Hebrew, Russian, and English. And colors symbolize my feelings about the peace agreement between Jewish state and our Arab neighbors, and also symbolize my feelings about the normalizations agreement between Israel and Emirates.
20 of the unusual works have sold at between $5,000 and $10,000 a piece, he said.
This art symbolizes that there is only promise of the peace, but there is no peace actually. That's why we're shooting, when you're using tank to create these artworks. There's a funny thing, we shooting from the tank and making word peace.
For Dede, this juxtaposition is what makes his artwork unique.
Moving along, you know lamps in cartoons that have genies inside? Well, you're not getting 3 wishes, but a temple-era bronze oil lamp was discovered during excavations in the City of David's Pilgrimage Road in Jerusalem. Israel Antiquities Authority archaeologists say that the rare bronze oil lamp, shaped like a distorted face, was intentionally deposited in order to bring good luck to the building's residents, and it dates all the way back to the Roman period. This lamp is an extremely unique find and the first of its kind in Israel. For now, the lucky lamp is currently in the hands of the Israel Antiquities Authority for further research.
מאוד נדיר. בירושלים עצמה, כרגע זהו הממצא היחידי מסוגו שנחשף, ייתכן אף בארץ כולה. אני מחזיק בידי עכשיו את חצי הנר שנמצא במערך החפירה, ואני ממש סקרן לדעת אם במשך החפירה נוכל למצוא את החצי השני שחסר לנו כרגע.
Are you looking to relocate? A new luxury real estate development in Jerusalem wants you to have the holy city in your very own backyard. I went to go check it out. The city of Jerusalem. There's absolutely nothing like it in the world. Israel's capital is filled with so much meaning and ancient history, from the centuries-old pathways, the bustling Machne Yehuda market, the old city itself, and who could forget to mention the Western Wall. We went to check out the latest luxury residential complex to give you an idea of where you could potentially be living. So we are right now here at the Savion View residential building in the heart of Jerusalem. Tell me a little bit about the project.
Yes, so we are on the 21st floor, and this project is located on Jaffa Street, which is the main street that comes from the entrance to Jerusalem and goes to the old city.
It might not look like it right now, but in less than 2 years, this is going to be one of the most luxurious real estate opportunities to buy in. You guys are not going to want to miss out. It's walking distance from some of the most historic places in the world. That's the light rail right there, no?
Yeah, there's the light rail, and the market is behind this building.
So they're walking
Yehuda.
distance from like the best public transportation in Jerusalem.
It's 1 minute.
Yeah.
Less than 1 minute. It's downstairs, the street in Jaffa Street, and the market is 2 minutes from here. Half of the apartments have been purchased already. Families that wants to live here and investors from United States and South America. And we have Israeli people, most of them from Jerusalem, who are buying here either to live here or to invest. We have it here a 1 to 3 bedrooms apartment. We have also the penthouses with 360 degrees view. It's going to be 27 floor building. We're going to have 2 roof gardens. One is 400 square meters and the other is 200 square meters. I mean, everything you need is a walking distance from here.
Whether you visit Israel a lot and are looking for a beautiful, luxurious vacation home, or maybe you've decided you want to make Aliyah and are looking for that perfect home, or maybe you're looking to invest, the Savion View is the spot to check out.
You can't be wrong here because this is a very, very prime and unique location, and it's a very safe opportunity to invest in.
The Savion View project is actually designed by one of Israel's leading and oldest real estate companies, Africa Israel.
Africa Israel has been around more than 80 years. We build all over the country, from the north until Jerusalem, from Harish, Petach Tikva, Nes Ziona.
For people who love Jerusalem, this is the place to be.
With all of this going on, you can sometimes forget that Jerusalem has become a very modern and up-to-date city with some of the most delicious restaurants, top universities, beautiful museums, and of course, a ton of shopping. So if you're already considering moving to Jerusalem, definitely check out the Savion View residential projects because this could be your backyard. And now, let's watch the ILTV interview with CEO of Africa Israel to learn more about their newest project.
Thank you so much, Dan, for joining me. And I have to say, the project looks extremely stunningly beautiful.
Thank you for having me here. Well, our project is really a special project in Jerusalem. It's located, as you've seen, in the heart of the city center. Basically, in real estate, and especially in residential real estate, what is important is the location. The 3 L's of real estate: location, location, location. Well, we have all 3. On top of that, I think that the view that you can see from the 27-story tower,
It looks incredible.
It's incredible, and you can see the Mount Temple, which for Jewish people, you know, it's the more than the top tier that you can get. So basically, it's the best place to be in Jerusalem.
So tell me a little bit about the features of the apartments. What will make them extremely unique?
So first of all, we decided to have a very special apartment mix, which will be nice for people from abroad and also for local customers. We have 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms apartments, penthouses, and this mix of apartments is very special to find in Israel because usually in Israel nowadays you don't find the smallest apartment anymore. It's much more difficult to find 2 or 3 bedroom apartments, and in this tower you can find it, so you can have what they say in France, pied-à-terre in Jerusalem.
Okay, so we saw Manuel got the chance to go check out the new development, but how can people who are actually interested get more information, perhaps come check out the construction site? I don't know what you're allowing potential customers to do. What are the possibilities?
So we have an office on the Cook Street, just next to the project, and we welcome all the clients. And they can ring us or come over, and we will be happy to show them the apartments.
And when is the building expected to be ready for people to move in, to start enjoying it?
The last quarter of 2022.
All right, not that far away.
No, not that far away.
Are you working on other projects other than Savion around the country? Tell me about some of the other sort of buildings that people might be interested in.
So Savion is a master brand name for Africa Israel. And basically, we are working on a national level. We are operating from Kiryat Bialik in the north to Nes Ziona in the south, and all in the interim. So, for example, we have a very, very big project in Tel Aviv called Duo Tel Aviv. We have projects in Jerusalem. We have actually 5 projects in Jerusalem. This is only one of them. We have a project in Katamon. Katamon is an area of the city which is now reviving So we have 2 more projects with more than 1,000 apartments in Katamon. We have another project in Ramat Sharet in Jerusalem, and we will also be active in the long-term rent apartment in Arnona.
All right, of course, we just came through COVID-19, the global pandemic, which really affected the real estate market. But now, I assume, since it's relatively behind us, that things are back up and running again. What is the status of the real estate market right now?
So actually, the residential real estate was not really affected by the pandemic.
Interesting.
And it is now booming. And not only with Israeli clients, we see many, many clients from abroad actually trying to avoid what's happening overseas and coming here to Israel. It's like a safe haven, and buying apartments, whether for investments or for living, making their aliyah. We see more and more of them, and we hear voices of many more coming in the future. We're hopeful.
All right, well, our main focus of this interview is, of course, the Savion project. So I wonder, what is the main sort of attraction? What is the main thing that you think is going to bring people to come live in this unique location?
So as I said before, that's the location, that's the view, and those are the special amenities that we have in the building. So we have prepared 2 very, very nice rooftop gardens.
I was just going to mention those rooftops. Yes. They look amazing.
Yes, very, very nice rooftop garden for the leisure of the clients. One on the 10th floor and the other one on the 21st floor.
Wow.
So the view from there will be amazing, and people would be able to come to picnic. It's very,
Maybe
very,
hold
very nice.
events up there,
Exactly.
have parties up there. Now that Corona is behind us, people can actually enjoy each other's company.
True.
All right, Dan, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Heading back into space now for this next story, Israeli astrophotographer David Dede releasing these incredible time-lapse images of the surface of the sun. So what you're looking at are the sun's stunning dancing flames and swirling sunspots that dot the star's surface. Each video taking Dayag several hours to shoot from his backyard in Netanya. Of course, Dayag also regularly releasing other shots of the heavenly bodies in our solar system, including more recently a 3-hour time-lapse showing Jupiter's rotation, and all of which you can see on his various social media channels.
One Israeli photographer decided that taking pictures of people or nature wasn't enough for him, so he set his sights much higher, all the way to space. Dede Dayag is an astrophotographer who takes extremely close-up and extremely detailed images of the sun and other planets, including most recently Jupiter. Hey, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, it's my pleasure.
So I'm really curious to know, how did you first get into astrophotography? It's a really interesting profession.
Yeah, so it's not my profession, it's more of a hobby. And I was interested in space actually ever since I was very young. My grandfather would take me to build all kind of stuff, and then he had this book on how to build a telescope. So, you know, he would take me to build parts, and I would try to build it myself, and I was like 8 years old then. But later on, when I continued, when I was in high school, I built my first telescope, my first real working telescope there. And it was kind of a science project there. But I was always interested in space and physics and, you know, understanding how the universe works. Yeah, that's what's got me started. And then when I was older and I could afford, you know, something more professional and serious, I got into this. I got into this hobby again. Then I set up, you know, to get the best possible images. You know.
So tell us technically, how are you capturing these images? I mean, they're really impressive. They're very, very close images of things that are extremely far away. What equipment do you need to use to capture these things?
Yeah. So first off, you need a telescope, and the larger, the better. And of course, it depends on the type of target. For example, if you're trying to capture the sun, then you would use special filters to filter and block most of the sun's energy. And then if you want to capture deep space objects, then you want, you know, more light gathering. So it's just the opposite. You want more light gathering, and you want a bigger telescope to collect as much photons as possible. And then you use a cooled astronomy camera to reduce the sensor noise and all that. And then, you know, try later on to process the images and get them as sharp and as clean as possible.
All right, Dede, please keep up the great work, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, over the last year, many of us wound up looking for ways to entertain ourselves through repeated lockdowns and quarantines. And when you're bored, what could be better than playing games on your smartphone? Hint, it's playing Israeli games on your smartphone.
So what are you playing? Because games are no longer meant only for kids. Actually, they never really were just for kids, but with the adult population, they're really making a comeback. Maybe it's just because the current adult generation never received enough adulting lessons. But in any case, the mobile gaming industry is booming, and in Israel in particular, the startup nation, mobile game companies are thriving more than ever before. In fact, several Israeli companies are behind some of the mobile games that we all know and love. For example, one Israeli company, Moon Active, is the team behind the popular app Coinmaster, a top earner among mobile games in both the UK and Germany, and it has over 100 million worldwide downloads. Meantime, company Playtika, or the makers of Bingo Blitz, has a current market value of $13 billion US, and they even had a record-setting IPO at the beginning of the year. So as digital gaming revenue rose 12% just last year to a whopping $126.6 billion, it looks like Israel's helping lead the way.
And now let's take a look at the ILTV interview with Eldad Tamil, CEO and founder of Tamil Fishman Investment Group, to find out what makes Israel such a competitor.
So now we know that Israeli gaming companies are among the top of the pack in the mobile gaming industry, which globally today is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. But what's behind the growth in gaming despite an ongoing pandemic? And what makes Israel such a big competitor? Joining me to discuss is Eldad Tamil, CEO and founder of Tamil Fishman Investment Group. Eldad, thanks so much for being with us. Now, what can you tell us about the global gaming industry and what trends maybe should we be following or noticing, especially in mobile gaming?
Well, I think the main trends are that people are, especially the younger generations, are more and more engaged with their computer, their phone, and therefore spend more time in gaming. So it's a kind of a result of the digital revolution where people have more time. People like your picture right now, and most of the relationships that people have is there with their, with their toys, with their phone. So that's driving most, I think, of the gaming industry. So people can sit in conference rooms and listen and play games at the same time. They can work. I see the developers here at Tamil Fishman who develop and play game at the same time. So it's a new kind of humans. Not sure I like them that much, but that's the fact.
All right. Well, so where do Israeli companies fit in with all this? Because and what kinds of games really are Israelis mostly producing? Because I've primarily seen card games and games like bingo and puzzle games similar to Candy Crush. Is there like a type that Israel tends to focus on?
Well, I think the main core know-how of Israelis in gaming comes from distribution and marketing. I think if we look backwards to see where the knowledge came from, it actually came from and still comes a lot from gambling. So Israeli companies were the first to develop all the marketing tools to go around the net and catch that, rich or not rich, really, most of these guys are not rich, but someone who is willing to spend a few $100s or a few $1,000s, and sometimes, catch a big fish who can spend 20 or 30K dollars on gambling. And we can like it or not like it, depending on our view on gambling, but that's where the know-how came from. And from that, gaming and gambling are not that far away in terms of how to reach customers, how to gain more money out of the pockets of those customers. And therefore, that's kind of where this business know-how comes from.
So who are the primary users of Israeli games? Are they mostly in countries with a big gambling culture?
Well, I think, the users are definitely not Israelis because, we're a small market over here. But I think that if you go into countries where there's more digital adoptions, that's where the Israeli companies can get out of a certain amount of the population more money out of their pockets. So I think, if you go to certain countries in Europe, there are more countries who tend to gamble more or less. If you go to the UK, like, gambling is, you can see it, sports game and gambling is legal. So you can go out to the internet and fetch those big fish you can get money in gambling and gaming, and there's a interaction between those two. And if you go to countries like the United States where online gambling is prohibited, then gaming comes in a smaller rate of adoption, but still it's coming a big way, and gaming is becoming a part of our content. It's about 170 billion business dollars a year, so definitely a big business, and it's growing. So.
Oh my gosh! Wow. All right. So,
Yeah.
final question: what's your favorite mobile game that you're playing right now?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've kind of prohibited myself from playing. I think the last one was a kind of a pool game where you can play pool forever and play once against the other. But it's addictive, so I'm trying not to get into that.
So you're forming some good habits. Not much of a gambler, I guess.
Yeah, I mean.
All right. Eldad Tamir.
Still, I enjoy working more, so.
That's a very good habit, I'm sure. All right, Eldad Tamir, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And now, before we go, let's take a look at what's going viral in Israel.
אמר שרק בטסלה יש נהג אוטומטי, ומי אמר שרק בטסלה אפשר לישון תוך כדי נהיגה. הנה, הבן אדם שהמציא את טסלה נמצא פה לידינו, והנה, הוא ישן. וזה נקרא נהג אוטומטי, וזה הנהג. אז טסלה יש לכם הרבה מה ללמוד.
And that's all for today's Good Week Israel. Hope we've helped you start your week off with a smile. I'm Emmanuel Kadosh, and see you next week.